You
Let's
deserve it.
go.
Here, you deserve it. We ain't dropping this mic. We're gonna keep going on this mic. You deserve all the adulations. Thank you for being part of this channel. Thank those who keep coming back and keep repeating, and everybody that feels they're getting something from this space and this place. I welcome you with a hearty welcome today. Glad you're here. Man, we got on the assemblage point, and I'm going to get on it again. We're going to go in another deeper version of it because this is I did a video a long time ago when especially when I was heavily and still heavily on using words, and I heard this a long time ago, many, maybe as much as 7, 8, 9 years ago, probably closer to 7. Mentioned on Secret Energy, shout out to that platform, and Seven Bomar. He said words, language is actually a technology. I thought about it, it is. You create structure, vibration, and frequency with words. That's why there's power in the tongue of what? Living or diving or dying, right? There's power in that tongue. And this is the same thing with the assemblage point, because this is now being a craftsman expert, because as we go on into our journey, there's a day that we are no longer a beginner, a rookie. We're no longer novicing, right? We're starting to be a master. Some would call it an adept, especially in occult and different occult organizations and stuff. Going through the process of being initiated was to create an adept out of a novice. That's why many of them would not allow people to join until they were certain ages, even some as late as 40, because they wanted the child or the immaturity out of you, because they're going to give you dynamite, understanding that if it's in the hands of an immaturity, you can create a bunch of chaos and blow things up. Hence, hijacked what we see in this reality that we live in even in the notice of the story of that we went over in Gnosticism about Yada Baoth was what? He was immature, ignorant, and didn't have wisdom, which is all signs of immaturity and childishness, and in a way of childishness, of not being a mature spiritual being. And then you create out of that, it becomes a dive, a deep dive. You become power hungry. And this is what we see reflected back to me in this lower realm, which I think this is what it is. And I was in a conversation with somebody the other day, and in that conversation, it was mentioned the fact that, hey, look at this, and I was like, interesting. So you've talking about Gnosticism, and the Gnostics takes about this realm, that it's hijacked, it's a demiurge, it's not your place of abiding. It was never the plan. It doesn't ever function in a way that it comes into unity and oneness. I go, yes. They go, so would you call it? Because this is going around everywhere. If you haven't heard, are talking about it. Many feel that when we start really looking at this, many are saying we're stuck in a prison planet. And it's just not from them. It's actually in the ancient books, Samaria, that they were harvesting people. That's what they were raised for. Like we raise cattle, we were being raised to harvest our energy. That's the story in Samaria, which outdates our Western religion of Christianity by long time ago. Many of those are all actually archetypes. When you take Enki, Enlil, Isis, Ra, right? Jesus, the demiurge, Sophia, Isis, Mary, and these are our archetypes of stories preceding to come into this. And I was looking at this and I said, yeah, you're right, but there's an aspect of this in this dualistic plane. If you don't know and you're caught in samsara, which we've talked about many times here, and just existing, or maybe dying, right, is the fact that maybe, and I don't think maybe, is when you look at Gnosticism, you have that aspect called the demiurge and the archons controlling the reality, and people are stuck. And then every time they pass away and come back, their memory's wiped, and they have to remember things all about over again. And many aren't getting anything. We've talked about that. Seem not to budge on their consciousness and their knowledge, and kind of stay the same, not knowing. We talked about it. pneumatics, hylics, and psychics, pneumatic psychics and hylics from top to bottom, if I would look at that in the structure. But then the other side of the demiurge, which you could say that's kind of a prison planet, when things are not moving and things are not yielding, and it just keeps looping and looping and looping. But also on the other side of Gnosticism is Sophia, and she's about getting you out of that trap. So actually, both of them are in Gnosticism. Just a thought to think about. And I think what we're talking about here is even in us is not hopeless. Your way out of it is through your gnosis, your knower, your inward GPS, your intuition, your higher self, your connection, who you're connected with. Through the access of gnosis is the access of alchemy and hermeticism, where your way out is ascending because you're in a descented state. The trap is not knowing. And if you keep not knowing. So that's kind of a question I had. And I kind of thought about it, hit me. And actually, it reminded me because I actually thought about this. Oh, I said I actually had heard that like months ago from Sarah, I'll call the alchemist, that she had said that. And I go, oh, okay, yeah. I remember Sarah said that a long time ago. And it makes sense. And then when I dived into Gnosticism on my own, because Sarah kept mentioning it's something that really connected with her, along with alchemy, hermeticism, and some shamanism, of a structured unity of how this operates in a fullness, because we got to operate in a fullness. So the assemblage point is similar. But you go, how's it similar? The assemblage point is your energetic field around you, your quantum physics. It's like a library. Everywhere around you is actually like a library book of knowledge that you can tap into when you break out of structures and you align your assemblage point, because your assemblage point's off pudding and you're angry, mad, depressed, and you're going through hard times and you don't know how to make the adjustments. And that's the problem we have. That's why we have certain aspects of certain things we see in the world, right? We see all kinds of stuff with as we saw, I mean, especially on Instagram. It could be other ways around. I'm not much of a Facebook person, I'm gonna be honest. I know some of you here that are in this Facebook. I'm not. I know both of them are owned by the same guy. I just like Instagram better because to me, I don't know, there's something about Facebook and MZ that just doesn't fit right, even though I know he owns the other one too. So I mean, they all own it all. Let's just be honest. We got to take what we get, but then learn to walk in the mist where we can't be seen, because they're not all what you think they are. There's a lacking, except there's an aspect that we lack. And it's not really that we lack, we don't know. And our memory of our recall, our total recall of self and our experiences and our connections, right? Forgetfulness, amnesia plays into that. That's why we're totally bombarded with stuff outside of ourselves. And the key now, I really believe this, if you're going to go to the next level, and the timing being perfect to where we're at and how we're at, let me turn this off. I don't want to hear it. Where we're at, what we're doing, where we're at, how we're doing is the move, is learning to even deeper dive and go within and quit playing the volleyball game outside. It's easy to be distracted. It really is. There's a lot of distraction within your monkey mind. If you get into meditation, and the monks in Buddhism talking about, notice it's a monk and talks about kicking the monkey mind out, but it's a monk. Notice monk has a key, but the mind has to be erased to get the key for the monk, which is the monkey mind. Take that, decode that. Some revelation. Now I'll just kick down right to just a little 45-minute intro of the monkey mind and the monk. Notice it's a monk with a key. Chatter, chatter, chatter. The key is meditation, because what you do is you start limiting the chatter. And it becomes now a unity, oneness of singly, as you're starting to get in. This place is really, I noticed, I told you I had a dream, was anchoring in and going into the depth of the root of yourself, which would be issues, and learning how to change them, but also your authenticity, because you start unraveling the ego and the false sense of selves that you have that keep trying to, it's in your darkness too. in your dark space, because what's happened is our darkness is heavy. Our inner child, our shadow self is heavy, because that's where we store everything, like a storage room that's been stuffed in your drawers, stuffed to it. You can't even open it no more, and it starts to collapse on itself because it's too heavy for what it holds. And that's why we have to go in there. We have to bring this light to our subconscious. Hear what I'm saying? And it's very simple practices in another state of meditation into another realm and connecting to the very crossroads within this stuff of going deeper within yourself with just few key elements of going in with and learning to take gratitude. It's just not a word, it's a habit. And that gratitude is a portal and a key to open up your full possibilities, because when you live in gratitude and not lack, lack isn't just moolah. Lack is everything. If you're lacking wisdom, if you're lacking knowledge, if you're lacking insight, if you're lacking poor abilities, it can be all that. But gratitude means that you're self-sufficient, you accept, and you're putting a frequency into a portal that opens up. So I'm going to share something today. I'm going to share 2 small charts talking about this. I'm going to do one more after this video. After this, Carl Jung's going to join us in the assembly point on the next video on his take on the assembly point. Remember, this calls from ancient folks who had this connection to it, meaning our assembly point is our frequency and energetic field, and it's the heart is when you get to zero. It's like going and rebooting and recalibrating yourself to zero. If you're leaning and learning how, this would be the depth of going to the next level for us. But this is how you start calibrating your balance. But then you do this like almost like a scale, right? If you want to go higher, you got to get lighter. If you want light, you got to get, that means there's a lot you got to dump out that doesn't match getting light, right? So if you start learning how to reflect light, the golden light, into your subconscious, will take that aspect of getting light to take light into a space, almost like having a huge lantern walking in the deepest, darkest cave so you could see. So your field opens up in your heart, which expands way more than your mind. It was called, in Hermeticism, it would say the mind is everything. It was said that because that was a hidden aspect of it. It was the mind-heart coordination or coherence, because the heart is electric magnetic and it goes way deeper. That's why it says you got to know in your heart, you got to believe, you got to love with your heart. It's not the one that beats. It's an aspect above your heart that connects with that higher realm of your crown chakra, the mind, and above the mind into the brain, because this goes above the brain, even into a higher space of learning how to calibrate. Now, if I want to tweak something, I can say I want to experience. I'm going to go real deep real quick, and we're going to revert back to the beginning of this one of these charts. What we need to do to tweak to get to this place. But here's what you want to get to: is now the reality, your observations, or your perceptions. Right, your degree. That's what degrees represent. 360, not a bachelor degree at that university. That has no heat. 360, 90 degree angle, 180 degree angle, 270 degree angle, 360 degree angle. Fullness, eyes everywhere. Meaning you're seeing perceptions of degrees of higher knowledge. You're learning yourself, and you are the universe. We're looking out there. Go through you is really the real deal. It's Holyfield. Come on. So I'm just saying that we start learning how to tweak our vantage point. Assemblage point becomes now our vantage point with another eyes of perception on your vantage point. Remember, understanding is underneath, overstanding is above. Seeing from another perception of another angle or degree changes your perception and expands your knowledge. That's why he said, go within, for the kingdom's with you, because if you keep straying outside yourself, you're going to get distracted. You'll always be distracted with stuff that's illusionary. Maya's illusionary. This out here, structures, governments, archons, all that stuff does not serve you in the long run. None of us. The thing that serves you is getting connected to the greater aspect of you and know how to stay tight in that thing, because it's going to require that in this day and this time to stay tight and take it to the next tight level. This is next level. I know. I've seen it. For me and those in that state ready to do that, I seen it. I had to dive deep and go to the root. And the water started becoming clear, not murky, in my dreams. And then the next thing I'm kind of starting to see in those dreams is those waters become luminescence, light, frequency, vibration. And we'll start to take the assemblage point. And if we go over here, we got another reality. We go over here, we got another realm of reality we can see. We tweak it a little bit, we go over here. But if we go to the other side and drop it, we go into depression. We're beaten. We're browbeaten each other. We're judgment of each other. We have no hope within each other. This is the stuff that we have to tweak. So I'm going to share something with you, and we're going to talk about this chart and go over it a little bit. So let me just share. I got a couple of them, so I will go in and out with this because I got two of them. All right. This is called, remember I mentioned earlier why I use the monk. Here's the monk. Monks are not looking for higher frequency in a plus or creative way. They're looking to not give anything to energy. That's why they isolate to become masters of this. So look, when we see the monkey mind, remember I said the monk has a key, but that key seems negative. Let's look at the monkey mind. Overwhelmed by multiple branches. Remember I said earlier, what do we have to do to the root? We have to change the root. The monkey mind focused on the root of the issue. And this was my dream. And when this kind of came up, and I had actually two charts sent to me by my brother James, and I couldn't get them on the system. So I kind of had to look and makeshift one on my own, which was easy to find, but he had some really good ones with some information that I'm still going to try to figure out and try. I couldn't get it to accept on this program. So focus on the issue. Cost in the passenger seat, right? Coast in the passenger seat, the monkey mind. Lives intentionally and consciously. This is just being a rider. The other side is driving the bus. And what I mean by that, you are starting to be a creator in the monk's mind. I said monks don't try to. No, they try to stay at the zero balance collaboration because they're not trying to create. But if you're trying to create something, you have to go on the plus. But intentionally is the big thing. What's your intentions and what are you going to do to create consciously? The next one, complains, compares, criticizes, which is playing the victim, judgment, and always putting some, and definitely playing the victim. Compares, measures. The monk mind is compassionate, caring, collaborative, a unity. These are things in the point of the assemblage point that you can start tweaking by being intentionally. And I'm telling you, it's meditation, it's deep breathing, it's having awareness needs to be turned on. Activation of the assemblage point. Okay, let's go. Compassionate. Overthinks and procrastinates. The monkey mind. We're changing. You take the key from the monkey and you get the key to the monk mind. It opens the other side. Now you're no longer that. You analyzes and you articulate. Distracted by small things, disciplined. Disciplined. If you're disciplined, you will not be distracted by small little things. You're not jumping because what you're going and learning how to change your assemblage point of your heart and your energetic field. Now frequency and vibration goes into higher states of who you really are instead of the lower aspects of who you are. Short-term gratification, get the quick fix. We know we've been in this generation for 40, 30 years with the different creations, even of things. Everybody wants the short-term gratification, long-term gain, though last. I had mentioned to somebody in the recent past, I said, think about it. Anything that lasts takes discipline and lasts. Anything that you get easy is forgotten. Demanding and entitled, enthusiastic, determined, and patient. Demanding, entitled. monkey mind. You go in there and tweak it, and you start tweaking these things by you having the power to change your channel, like a radio, like an FM AM radio. You're finding the frequency of the channel you want to put. Who? You're gaining power. Just like your lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is one thing to dream. Next level is lucid dreaming, because when you're lucid dreaming, guess what you're doing? You jump in the control seat of the bus on your dream, and now you're creating within your lucid dreams, which means you're doing this in another realm when you go to sleep. Short-term gratification, we did demanding, entitled, changes on a whim, commits to mission, vision, or goal. Amplifies negatives and fears, works on breaking down negatives and fears. And this is what you do. You take the key from the monkey mind, and that key becomes the monk mind, unity, higher frequency. You are now empowered. You've taken the axe to the source, or the axe to the root. Like it says in the very first one here, you're going to the root. Notice we're medically in this country, we're giving pills, a pill for every ill, and they never doctor the cause or the root problem. That's been going on for 115 years. When we do our homework, it's out there. It's about 150. 1910 is when this changed. Changes amplifies negatives. Self-control and obsessed. Self-care for service, meaning you'll help others. Multitasking, single tasking. Controlled by anger, worry, and fear. Lower vibration frequency. Controls, engages energy wisely. The flip side from the monkey mind to the monk, because the monk got the key from the monkey mind, and now it's just a different mindset. It's a key is the monk mind, is actually the key that opens you up to another frequency. This is connected to the assembly point. This is you being proactive with you instead of the little bit distraction, which is always going to take you to the blame and drive you outside of yourself. Look, governments are not here to save you. See my look? You know what I'm saying? Right, left, they're just the other side of the same coin. Self-care for service. Multitasking. Controlled by anger. We did that. Does whatever feels good. Seeks self-control and mastery. And this is the key. Going into mastery is connected to going into being a master of your own destiny and control. You're stepping in a seat out of just being a bus rider to being a bus driver. Looks for pleasure, looks for meaning, looks for the temporary fixes heavily. Let's stop the share real quick. Let me go here first. And I'm going to stop the share because we're going to share another one. Powerful. This is the assemblage point that you have the access to change. An assemblage point is a hidden switch within you. We just had Gabby Kobalenko's video on part 2 on the assemblage switch. Was the hidden switch you have to empower yourself, and you make the changes necessarily to empower yourself, to take in, build your frequency and vibration and empower you, instead of living in the lull, repeated behaviors, repeated butt whippings from the behaviors, even though you'll go take the deep breath and said, not to say that we don't make mistakes, folks, but we can empower ourselves and be better. If we're not mastering ourselves, what are we doing? I mean, I built this channel on it for self-development of your spiritual aspect, that we had tools, and we do have tools, languages tools, meditations tools. If we're not using our tools when there's something to fix, then what do you it stays unfixed. You can say, well, you're voicing, I'm very passionate, because to me, this is a time. I know what I've experienced the last 10 days. It's time for, and them who are on board and hear me and feel me, like some of the younger folks say it over in the hood, fig me, right? Do you figging me? Do you feel me? Fig me. Meaning, do you see what I see? You're the star. You're the connected. You're the God they're jealous of. The jealous God's jealous of. Because abilities that outweigh the abilities of that one. So the distraction and keeping you low is what the archons do by everything outside of you. That's why it's not made in the hierarchy of any religion, any other thing that wants to promote itself. When it promotes itself, it's not giving you the initial contact that you have. So Jesus said, the kingdom God's within you. Quit looking at your government. Quit looking at your, and Buddha said the same thing. Quit looking at that. Buddha, if you look at the story of Buddha, let me share the screen while I say that I got one more screen to share. Story of Buddha, he was a prince, meaning he was a child of a king. He walked away from the princehood. He walked away from the being a prince. Why? You say, why did he walk away from being a prince? You know what he did? He realized and had an experience he never got in the king's house. This is the same story, if you look at it, is of the prodigal son. Buddha went out and experienced and seen the world in its poor state, seen the world suffering, and experienced that. And then he came and sat under the tree of life, just like we see in the other, under the tree, the cherry tree. And what he do? He had his awakening. The word Buddha actually isn't about, I know it, people say it's a man like Jesus, but it's really about the word Buddha means being enlightenment. And he even said in the books of Buddha, you can become Buddha. How? Because the word means you can become enlightenment. Buddha means enlightenment. Like Jesus said, you can do greater works than I. Yes, it's about you. Positive, pleasant feelings. Open, happy, live, good, love, interested, positive. I'm going to tell you James' chart's even better than this, but I'm sorry. I will work on getting it back because, James, you did an awesome job. But notice, open, understanding. Happy, great. Alive, playful. Good, calm. Loving, interested, positive, eager. All these things that are a higher frequency of us being creative within ourselves by moods. Notice that. How many times in our life, and we'll go and we look at the bottom one, this chart. If you have it, take a picture. If you're on your phone, you can make it bigger if you can't see it. I'm sure on the TV with this, it seems to be pretty good if you're watching on the TV when you see this. And see angry, irritated, lousy, upbeat, upset, incapable. Everything is downloading you into a deeper dive of negativity or your hellish realm and lower levels and having no hope, hopelessness. This goes into depression, and this even can go as deep as suicide. If some know, they know and have had that in their life. I know people in my family in the past, ancestors, who have killed themselves. I actually have that. I worked in mental health for many years, and I've seen this, seen how it happens and how it works, and how breaking certain, see, we're in a thing, we're breaking generational curses. You break it, you're the one that becomes like the Christ or the Buddha or the Krishna, or you do. Why? Because you start even breaking it within your generational seeds, your ancestors and you, because there's a one in the DNA in there. Come on now. So you can see there's two sides. And what I wanted to say, and I'm not going to go through all this. I went through the other one. You guys can read it, look at it, play with it. You know, I'll read a little bit more. Notice the open, confident, joyous, courageous, peaceful, considerate, fascinated. Notice that word fascination is why a lot of people don't see things. They have no curiosity, a fascination. They're not thinking something's wrong here. And most people who wake up realize something's not happening here that's real. Something just don't seem right, right? We wake up out of that sluggish mindset. And then we work on ourselves to be engaged, right? We see the engaged, doubtful, alone, critical, tormented, nervous, rejected, conflicted, forced, frustrated. I'm just throwing these words out from different areas. Doubtful, distrustful, silly, agitated, lifeless, inconsiderate, mournful, grieved. And some of these are natural things that happen to us that we can't stay in the state, like grief when a loved one dies or something happens, or anger. How do we adjust? Here's the thing. How many times have we said, why are you in experiences? Why are you in a bad mood? And I'm going to leave this share. Why are you in a bad mood? I hate the when it does that because it didn't go up. I just get out of this period here and maybe it'll let me go in. I'll even get out of this here completely and then maybe go. There you go. I stopped sharing it. It kept me on there with it still there, which happens sometimes. But how many times have we said, Why are you in a bad mood? Said it to our children, may have said it to ourselves, may have said it to your friends, your spouses, but whatever the case may be, people that you have conversations with, and they go, I don't know, I'm just in a bad mood. If we can be in a bad mood for no reason, we can be in a good mood for no reason, meaning go in there. Now this is back to where your power's in your assemblage point, because your whole frequency, that egg shaped aura based energetic field that is around you, is your power, energy, frequency. That is you. The unseen aspects that only them that have an eye can see, that deeper eye can see those aspects of you. And that is you. And that assemblage point allows you to tweak yourself to make these claims. So I'm going to tell you, it's about getting into a deeper meditation. I would say even meditate with intentions, meaning even if you're going into silence, fine. But there's also meditating into intentional, even being led into of gratefulness, anxiety, getting rid of, whatever it may be. I'm telling you, there's a portal in gratitude. And many folks struggle with gratitude when they're in humbug, lower self. The gratitude will change your life, but it can't be just, oh, I got gratitude. Because you know what has to activate is your emotion. Why? Your emotion is energy in motion. When it's connected to the sentience of your energy with the intention of your heart, now the portal opens and you're a creator, and you're seeing a new level of even expanding your aura, your frequency, to be not imbalanced and out of balance. And your assemblage points now is your switch that you have access to change you. And we less focus on changing somebody we have no power outside of us, or a system that really is always going to do what it does, because that's a system. It's a matrix. They told us this in movies. The system doesn't change. Never really is about it. Nobody's really cared for. It's a system. It's a machine that keeps cogging. It doesn't matter if you're homeless in the street or a millionaire or super rich. Somebody's living on the street. There's always going to be a winner, so-called winner and loser, and a bunch of people think they're winning just because of certain facts, but don't know truth, and they're not in the overall game of those who are awakened and know and have experienced this. We'll have one more assemblage point. I'm going to do one because Carl Jung has a very interesting take, and our next video will be jumping into assemblage point 4 with Mr. Carl Jung. You guys have a great day. And why do you say Carl Jung? I come from the profession of mental health, and when I see Carl Jung being it, because these guys these days aren't like him. He was a spiritual consciousness, and it was infused in his psychology and his analysis. These guys, cats these days, unless there's one we don't know, but in the training of it is not trained. It's not there, but I appreciate him. And we're going to take, because his assemblage points really very interesting. It will get even detailed, and that will be our next video. You guys have a wonderful day. We will talk soon with part 4 of the assemblage point. Please give. Spotify too. Please give. Help this work as I dig, and do what I do. Trying to get better. Not trying. We are getting better. I like this platform at Riverside. Way better. Helps. I can make clips much easier. If you see my clips, is the growth we've had on this channel is really because of the clips. The clips have went viral, a few of them. But please give. Spotify and TikTok release of the videos on the same day. You will catch me. It's the Connective Vibe on TikTok. It's not D-Boy. It will be the Connective Vibe on TikTok. Me. My name, Daniel Abril, but it will be the Connective Vibe on TikTok. All my videos, Connective Vibe on Spotify. On TikTok, it is D-Boy West Coast Uncensored. Hit me up there. I need more spiritual people, because there's a lot of others there. And I would love a lot more spiritual people to reach out there. But you guys have a great day. Remember that. And please give D-Boy West Coast Uncensored. D-Boy West Coast Uncensored on Cash App. D-Boy, BCU, Daniel Abril, Cash App. Please give anything. It will multiply back to you 100-fold. You guys have a great day.